Hi there, Geoff Coughlin, Editor Scale Modelling Now. So, welcome to this inbox browse for this new release from Revell, which is their 48 scale SR-71A Blackbird, Lockheed Blackbird. Well, much eagerly awaited, has to be said. Been looking for this one for a long time and now suddenly it's here. Comes in these enormous boxes, you can see. But then it's a fairly enormous aeroplane in 48 scale, as you can see here. Looking at the measurements on the box, we're talking about 62 odd centimeters in length. So yeah, it's a big bird. So how does it stack up? What do we got? Okay, well, let's just have a bit of a roam around the parts. Well, obviously you can see that it's in this light grey plastic. Well, the surface detail looks good. It looks well tooled, I have to say. Just bringing you in across the surface detail here. There's some very fine recessed panel lines as well. So I think the overall detailing looks very nice. I think for me, this is all going to be in the paint finish. How do you create that kind of multiple tone kind of black finish that these things had, which of course isn't really black at all. It's varying shades of grey, I think, to make it look like sort of a black and warm black at that. But that's later. That's for the build when we get to it. But I'm hugely grateful to Neil G, actually, who's actually lent us his sample. We haven't had ours in yet from the manufacturer, but he's bought one. This is his. And so thanks very much, Neil, for that. That's hugely appreciated. The breakdown of parts looks pretty, I say conventional. It's logical, I think, in terms of, you know, big kind of lower and upper surfaces over here. Obviously apertures for the cockpit where you can display the model with the canopies open or closed. These big kind of panels that I just pray and hope fit together well. No reason to think they won't, but let's hope they do, because I think if it does, then it should be a relatively straightforward build. Coming over here, you've got all sorts of inserts for the engines, for the nacelles. One of the cockpits you can see over here, just bring you in a little bit closer. Nice raised detail on that, so that's good. Just as we pass by, you probably saw the clear parts here. They look very good, very sharp, nice and clear. No defects there. Get a decent display stand. You can probably see that in the corner of the screen. Not a bad option, to be honest, given its size, if you can find somewhere, if you've got a desk big enough to put this thing on. Coming across here, first thing you'll notice is this enormous great spar. At first I thought that might be one for supporting the wings with the aircraft, but it's not. It's a longitudinal spar. Whole thing is to give it rigidity, I think, in its length, and then the rest should just attach quite nicely. Other cells and all sorts of other details you can see over here. Instrument panels on the left hand side, they are also good with nice raised detail. Come across here, got that nose cone, another cockpit, further instrument panel with details. Impressive looking gear, looks solid, this, and I would think it looks like it should be strong enough to take the model, which of course is always a good idea. Decent detail inside the nacelles there. We probably just about make that out. That sort of striations and so on going on in there. And then you've got two packets with the various engine parts and some of the cockpit parts too. So basically the duplicated elements. So you get fully detailed engines. So if you want to display those, you could display them outside the model. In fact, on the box art, it suggests that's an option. You've got some pretty detailed seats. I think they look okay. Moulded in belts, but I think they look okay. You could probably adapt those if you want. Decent hub detail on the wheels, which is significant. And then of course you've got all the fan details and so on for the engine. Decals look good. I think it's very wise to have included these instrument panels as decals. So it's good to see those. I think they're done nicely. Loads of stencils, far more stencils than I thought the real thing actually had, but what do I know? So that's good that they've all been included. Gonna need a seriously gloss finish, I would think, to make sure you don't see any of that carrier film, again, which is good. Various markings here for the different units and different aircraft, particularly that I should say from the units that flew. So they look good as well. So finally, we're just left with the instruction booklet. quite a hefty thing this, and follows the usual Revell format where you've got their Revell colours and mixes at the front end, the parts supplied, and then you get straight into the build, as you can see here, with that great big longitudinal spar, as you can see it. But I think, you know, the overall design of the kit looks good. When you see things like this, though, it just starts to bother me when you start to see, looks like you might have to, I don't know, it looks like you might have to start, yeah, probably include landing gear perhaps at this early stage, which I think is such a shame. I don't know why they don't come up with a better design than that, because you've got all that later on, all that sort of painting, weathering and so on, or whatever else you want to do to it. The last thing you want to do is to be faffing around trying to avoid damaging the undercarriage unit. So I think that's a shame that it looks like you might have to include those at this early stage. Don't know until we get to the build if there's an option to include them later. Of course, that would go down very well indeed. And of course, as you can see here, it all builds up. And you've got those iconic engines, which just are the SR-71 really. And they build up into these separate units that in effect attach to the side of the fuselage, as you can see here. So overall, it looks an impressive looking package. It doesn't look complicated. I think this is all going to be about, does it all fit nicely? If it does, then can you do a workaround with those undercarriage units? If you can, happy days, and add them later. Get all the painting and finishing done, and then finally bring it together in terms of those final sub-assemblies. As you can see here, millions of those decals, lots and lots of decals. I think that's actually going to be really helpful, because it's going to help break up that finish. And this particular version had that big white cross on it, which is interesting. Provides a bit of variety. This one doesn't. It's got all these big red walkways all over it, and there you have it. So that is it. That is the new SR-71A Blackbird, Lockheed Blackbird from Revell in 48 scale. What a monster.